I heard a guy on the phone say, "What are we going to do when he goes to jail?" And I hung the phone up. I went upstairs. I said, Marjorie down. I said, Marjorie, we got a problem.
See, my first big check, I had been living in my car for 3 years. I was struggling. And I had went to Montreal Comedy Festival, and I entered this Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, and I killed. I mean, I killed, man. First night up, I had these Canadians screaming, man. And ABC was there, and ABC asked me to come to the Four Seasons Hotel on Friday. I had nothing, man. They didn't know, man. I had caught a bus up, crossed the border in the car, caught another bus. I didn't even fly there. That's how broke I was, right? And I went to the hotel room, and they said, "We loved you. We'd like to give you a holding deal." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And they said, "We want to pay you not to do business with anybody else but us at this festival. Because as you perform, people of other networks are going to want you." So I said, okay. A guy came out the back and gave me a check for $50,000. I left the festival that afternoon. I was supposed to perform Saturday night. This. I got to get back across this border. I got to go find my father because I didn't have the credit or nothing to open a checking account. And I gave it to my father. My father put it in the bank for me. And you had to wait 7 days for it to clear. When it cleared, I went to the bank and got the whole $50,000 cash. This. I need that whole $50,000 cash. Bought me an airplane ticket, flew to Dallas, Texas. First thing I did was get me an apartment. Because we're going to stop this homeless right now. I bought an airplane ticket. And the reason I wanted to go to Texas because it stayed hot year round. So if I get and get homeless again, at least I'll be in the heat. I got an apartment. First thing I got was an apartment. Then I furnished it. Then I fixed my car. And I had about 44,000. No, I had more than that. I had about 46,000 left. Whew. Cash. Didn't have no bank account. Had it all in my house. I had my little apartment, but I was, I'm a hood boy, so you can break in there if you want to. I'm gonna have several surprises waiting on you. 6 of them to be exact. Got my car, and I rode around just eating. I see a restaurant, I go in there and eat. Drive around, see another restaurant, I went and ate. I was eating so much food, man, because I had been homeless for 3 years. And then I would just drive back to my apartment and just walk in my house and take another shower. I took about 7 showers in one day. I took a shower every hour. I had not had a bathroom in 3 years, man. I showered about 7 times a day and went to restaurants. And then I met this chick. And that was it. She was fine, had about $45,000. She said, "I think you're nice. I love you." I got in a huge tax situation in 2008 because my divorce was in 2005, and my accountant had gotten in cahoots, and next thing you know, my accountant died, and a girl that worked for him called my lawyer and said, "We have a problem." She had found on the floor all my tax forms for 7 years, signed and with the checks stapled to them. So I'm thinking, I done signed and I done stapled the checks. Well, they were cashing the checks, keeping the money, and not turning in the tax form. They took the money out of the account that matched the exact.
because I wasn't watching it like
You
that.
just see
I just
100,000,
600,000
Yeah, you looking at it, I paid
deducted.
it. Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's the check. Little did I know, it was some people taking the money out
For 7 years?
for 7 years.
How much money did that?
I ended up owing 22 million.
Wow.
22 million with the penalties. So now, listen to me, man. Me and my wife in 2008, I get the call. And the way I found out was, my lawyer called me and said, hey man, we got a problem. You haven't paid taxes in 7 years. I said, man, what are you talking about? I paid taxes, I've been writing the checks and all this here. Oh man. He said, this woman found your taxes in your accountant's office on the floor. Every tax check I had written and every was stapled together for 7 years, quarterly taxes, all of it. So he said, man, that's tax evasion. You can go to prison. And I said, what we gonna do? So he said, hold on, man, let me get some lawyers. So he called up some tax accountants out of Chicago. These boys was the best. And they set me down and they said, man, we got a major problem. He said, I got a friend working at the IRS. Let me take the first year. We took the first year and we sent it in. And he said, man, well, this is an old tax return. He said, man, we got a problem. He got more, but he didn't know it. And so we need a tax payment plan. So the tax payment plan was so astronomical that it was no way I could pay this. So the deal was, if you miss one payment, we come and seize all your assets and you go into jail. That was the deal. So the way I found out I was in real bad trouble was my accountants, my former manager, lawyer, got on a conference call to discuss it. But they sent out an email with the conference call number to my assistant. But it wasn't supposed to go to me. She inadvertently gave it to me. I wasn't even supposed to be on the call. So when I logged in, they were already talking and I just didn't announce myself. And I heard them say, nobody can live under this amount of stress. There's no way he can pay the back taxes, pay his current taxes, and his living expenses. And I heard a guy on the phone say, what are we gonna do when he goes to jail? And I hung the phone up, I went upstairs, I said, Marjorie down, I said, Marjorie, we got a problem. When I explained it to her, Marjorie started crying. She sat down and cried. My wife cried for 2 straight days. She said, Steve, what you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna go to work. I took every comedy gig in this country. I signed every contract. I went to work, man. I worked every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I went to every venue, the Verizon, Staples Center, MCI, Phillips. I sold out the Fox. I went everywhere. I stayed on the radio, man. I'm coming, sold out. I never missed a payment. And for 4 years in a row, I was sending $650,000 a month to the government. Plus, I had to pay my current taxes. I couldn't get behind on nothing. And I was living. So I was credit cards, running them up, paying them off. And finally, man, in 2012, I sold 49% of my radio company to iHeart. I got a check, man. I got me a check. And then, so I paid the government completely off to zero. And that was the first time, man, I could breathe. And then the pay-per-view, I said, let me get out of stand-up, because my wife said, Steve, you finna be a major TV star. You're gonna have to stop telling the jokes you telling, because you're gonna ruin your career. Because she saw the political correctness turning. And so she said, Steve, you can stop if you want to. I said, baby, I can't ever stop telling jokes. It's who I am. She said, well, okay, but you got to watch what you say. And all of my TV shows are sponsor driven, the radio is sponsorship driven. I said, man, let me get out of this because I need time to go do more TV. And so I did one last comedy show, but I did it on pay-per-view. And little did I know, for $8, you could watch my last ride. I had no idea how many people was gonna tune in for that. I made a lot of money. it was the biggest single paycheck I ever made. And next thing you know, I was back. One of my daughters is an equestrian rider. She rode horses. She asked me for a horse, I bought her some horses. You believe that? I asked my daddy for a horse. He told me you better go outside and put some hair on your bike. I took a bathroom rug outside and wrapped it around the bar and put tape on it. That was fur. That was my horse. It's really funny though, man, watching them ski and They got it great. Took them skiing, and she, a couple months ago, she took all the grandkids to the Georgia Aquarium. You know, she rented the aquarium out to spend the night in it. Yeah. No, people do that. You could. That's like not some rich. You can actually do that. It's not as expensive as you think. It's only like, okay, $200. $200 to spend the night. I was finna say that's great. I'm gonna send their ass back Friday. Hey man, they have suites. They have presidential suites that could cost you $40,000 a night. Oh, no, you don't understand. They have rooms that cost $250,000 a night. Oh yeah, I'll get a car before I do that. Yeah, I mean, it's not, but there's people who got that kind of money. There's suites for $250,000 a night. Easy. And they ain't blinking, ain't no deal. Hey, do you have a discount? Excuse me? They don't even know what that means. They got some stuff, man. I would never do that. I've had some expensive rooms, but no. You'd be stunned what they got out there, man. But when you get the money, all the stuff you say you're not gonna do, you're gonna do it. Because if you have the money, why would you not? Money is no good unless you use it. You can have $1 billion in the bank until you use it. You just got some money sitting over there to the side. You got to spend it on something, and you're gonna buy all that expensive stuff you thought you wouldn't get. You're gonna get all of that. Them $40,000 boots you like, you're gonna buy them boots because you got the money. That's what you're gonna do. I used to say I would never pay $750. My first alligator shoe was $750. I said I'd never pay $750 for a shoe. I can't find a shoe for that now. You get the money, you're going to spend it. Or else it's no need of having it. You're going to pay a lot of money for a house because you got the money. You're going to buy the same house Jay-Z and Beyonce bought, $80 million. You're going to go give them cash. $80 million cash. She said, I am. Don't let nobody have access to your money. Even if it's your wife, you still got to watch it yourself. Because little did I know, man, I wasn't moving the money. Yeah. The only other person that could move the money had access to the account. So when you withdrawing the money out, like let's say tax was $600,000. And you take exactly $600,000 out. I'm thinking that's the check cleared.
Oh.
Wow. They never the exact amount. I don't care if it was 1.2 million 32 cent, 1.232 cent got took out exactly. So I'm thinking, I'm just looking at real going down the sheet, not realizing that check ain't cleared. And that's what happened, man. I got burnt. And that happened for 7 years of money, man. So my first TV check, I bought somewhere to live. My first apartment was, the rent was $185 a month. But you know, this was 90s, early 90s, 185. I just had one big room. It had a bathroom in it. It had a refrigerator and kitchen.
That's all I cared. I sat up all night just leaning up against the wall. I had a door and a bathroom. It was 8 months before I bought a bed because I had been sleeping in a car. So I'm sleeping on carpet. I'm stretched out. I didn't even miss the bed. So it took me 8 months to buy a bed, man. I was so happy to have a door with a lock on it and a bathroom. So that was the first thing I bought. Then I bought me some clothes. And I said, and one day I was sitting up in the house, I said, man, I need some furniture. So I went and bought me a table that I could eat on and loaded that refrigerator up. That was the first thing I bought with money. I was excited. Then I got on TV, and then I went to Cleveland and bought my dad a car. And then my third check, I had enough money for a house. I bought my mom and dad a house. That was the first thing I did with my money. Flew them to Texas, show them the house. They ain't even want it. They thought it was too big. It was a 3-bedroom. The house was $126,000. It was in a brand new community. They didn't even want the house. For 2 different reasons. My mother said, I can't go to church down here. My church home ain't here. And we lived in the dry county, and my daddy found out they didn't have a liquor store. So my mama didn't want the house because she wasn't her church home, and my daddy didn't want the house because they didn't have a liquor store. 2 totally different reasons. So I had to take their ass back to Cleveland, and she wanted some new walnut paneling and new shag carpeting. Who the wants new walnut paneling? So I had to buy her new walnut paneling, put it all over the walls, bought her some green shag carpet, and she wanted a new spoon and fork set on the wall. Remember the big giant spoon and fork? She wanted a new one of them. And then my father, they replaced the picture of, we had Martin Luther King, Kennedy, and my mother had a picture of Jesus on the wall, but Jesus was white, so my father had that taken off. That's a true story.
Bye.